iron and gold of the Stone Age were obsidian and flint. Only these two rocks could be used to make sharp-edged knives, spearheads and arrowheads. Such tools and weapons were the material prerequisite for the transition to the Anthropocene. Obsidian was even more sought after than flint. Although it is more brittle, its edges are sharper, making it more effective for cutting tools and weapons. Obsidian and flint have very different origins and are found in completely different rock formations. Flint or flintstone forms in marine deposits. Obsidian is volcanic glass. It is formed when silicate-rich magma cools very quickly upon contact with water or air. Strictly speaking, it is not a mineral or a rock, but a rock glass. There are only a few sites in Europe where obsidian can be found. The most important one in the Mediterranean region is on the Greek island of Milos. In the Neolithic period, obsidian from Milos was traded in Crete, mainland Greece and Anatolia. Obsidian blades from Milos were found in the Franthic caves in the Peloponnese. They were dated to 13,000 BC using the hydration method. Many artifacts made from Milos obsidian were also found in Akrotiri on Santorini. In Minoan times, Philakopi on Milos was the Manchester of the eastern Mediterranean. The largest obsidian deposits were located directly above today's main port of Adamas on the Nychia plain. Geo-hiking trail number 7 leads to this mining site, which dates back a good 8,000 years. The Greek island of Milos, where the world-famous Venus de Milo was found, is located in the Aegean Sea. As Santorini, it belongs to the Cyclades. The distance between Milos and Santorini is just under 90 kilometers. The fast sea jet ferries take 2 hours to cover the distance. Milos has an area of 168 square kilometers, almost twice the size of Santorini, but only 5,000 inhabitants. Nearby are the 3 smaller islands of Andimilos, Kimolos and Polyegos, which are also of volcanic origin. Of these, only Kimolos is inhabited. For a long time, mining was the most important economic sector on Milos. 40% of the inhabitants were directly or indirectly dependent on it. In recent decades, however, tourism has become increasingly important, partly because it tends to benefit the local population. Like Santorini, Milos owes its volcanic origins to the tectonic boundary that runs between Europe and Africa in the Mediterranean Sea. This is a destructive plate boundary, a so-called subduction zone located south of Crete. Here, the African plate is pushed under the European plate, or more precisely, the Aegean microplate. The heavier African plate, which consists of ocean floor, is pushed under the lighter Aegean continental plate during this process. The sinking plate melts at depth, i.e. in the upper mantle, and causes magma flows to rise 200 kilometers further north. There, in the area of the Cycladic arc, this leads to volcanism and earthquakes. In addition to Milos, the Greek islands of Santorini and Nisyros, as well as the Methana Peninsula, are located on this arc. These areas are therefore strongly influenced by volcanism and cryptovolcanism. The volcanic activity on Milos is much older than on Santorini or Nisyros. This also means that hardly any landscape features have been preserved that can be clearly attributed to specific volcanic phenomena. The period of active volcanism on Milos ended too long ago, and volcanic features such as volcanic cones and craters have been overlaid too often by other geological, mineralogical and volcanic processes. Today, the island of Milos has a distinctive horseshoe shape. In the center is a wide bay that opens to the sea in the northwest. Adamas, the island's main port, is located on the north coast of this bay. The southwest of Milos is mountainous, with heights up to 750 meters. While the east is partly characterized by larger plains. The part of the island opposite Adamas is called Vani, and its northernmost point is called Cape Vani. There are very few settlements and tourist facilities. However, at the southwestern tip of Vani lies Cleftico, a tourist highlight of Milos. The spectacular rock cliffs are a direct result of volcanism, combined with subsequent erosion by wind and water. The cliffs consist mainly of soft, white tuff rock, from which erosion has created a labyrinth of rocks, sea caves and tunnels. With the exception of a few small areas on the south coast, the entire island of Milos consists of volcanic rocks. Today, these form a complex pattern in which deposits and formations from different phases of eruption are mixed and superimposed. Similar to Santorini or Nisyros, the volcanic phase on Milos began with submarine eruptions. This area is now located in the southwest of Vani, where the highest mountains of Milos, Prophetes Ilias and Chodorvuno, rise. In this first phase, which began about 3.5 million years ago, pillow lavas, among other things, were formed. A second phase began 2.5 million years ago. The volcanism was now of the sub-area type, meaning that lava emerged above the Earth's surface. It largely covered the deposits from the first phase. Over the next million years, volcanic activity shifted further and further to the east of Milos. There were further submarine eruptions which resulted in the formation of bentonite and kaolinite deposits. The two largest volcanic eruptions of the last million years occurred at Trachillas, north of the island's current capital Plaka, and at Cape Furiplaka, 4 kilometers south of the old Venetian island capital Zephyria. The eruption at Trachillas took place around 400,000 years ago and formed a wide ring of tuff. Pearlite is mined there today. The most recent volcanic cataclysm occurred near Cape Furiplaka and created the Cycladic crater. That was 100,000 years ago, although recent research suggests it may have been even later. This is also the area of the so-called Green Lahars, which cover about 1/3 of the eastern half of the island of Milos. It was formed in the course of several frito-magmatic explosions, in which no magma escaped to the Earth's surface, and contains fragments of metamorphic, sedimentary and volcanic rocks. This area was also the site of the last frito-magmatic explosion on Milos, which occurred in the 2nd century BC. It took place at Cape Calamos, about 600 meters from Cycladic crater. The debris ejected during the explosion now covers the Cycladic tuff ring. The fact that this explosion occurred not so long ago is also evidenced by the many sulfur fumaroles that are characteristic of this area. Route 2 of the Milos geo-hiking trails goes through the Cycladic crater and up to the summit of Calamos lava dome to the sulfur fumaroles. In addition to the crater remains, Milos also has two tectonic rift valleys that greatly influence the geology and topography of the island. The larger of the two encompasses almost the entire bay of Milos, which opens to the open sea to the northwest. Similar to the caldera of Santorini, this bay was not created by a single violent volcanic eruption, but by a complex process of volcanic activity, collapse phases, and erosion over millions of years. Since the volcanic activity took place much longer ago than on Santorini, individual structural features are hardly recognizable. The smaller rift valley runs on an angle of almost 90 degrees across the flat area in the east of the island. Among other things, it is home to the former Venetian island capital of Zephyria. Unlike Santorini and Nisyros, the surface features of Milos often make it difficult to recognize the volcanic origin. This can be seen, for example, at Prophetis Ilias, the highest mountain on the island, and at the famous beaches of Sarakinico. Prophetis Ilias, about 750 meters high, is a lava dome. It was formed by the eruption of viscous magma, which piled up into a dome-shaped elevation instead of flowing far. An important factor in this formation process is that the mountain was a result of an underwater eruption. Due to the ongoing volcanic activity and accompanying tectonic uplift, this massif was raised above sea level and now forms the highest point on the island. There are gold deposits in the rocks in the Prophetis Ilias region. No mining is currently taking place. Sarakinico Beach on Milos owes its unusual moon-like landscape to a combination of intense volcanic activity and subsequent long-lasting erosion by wind and waves. Millions of years ago, explosive volcanic eruptions, or in shallow sea areas, led to a large-scale deposition of volcanic ash and pumice. Over time, these materials solidified into soft, white, tough rock. Plate tectonic processes lifted the deposited rock and pushed it above sea level. The striking white color and unusual smooth shapes are the result of continuous erosion. In particular, the strong north wind and the surf of the Aegean Sea have shaped the tough rock over thousands of years. Wind and salt water have smoothed the rocks and given them wave-like organic shapes. This has created natural caves, arches, crevices and bizarre rock formations that give the area its characteristic appearance resembling a lunar landscape. Geotrail number 3 leads to the abundant sulfur mines in Paleorema Bay. This is located on the east coast at roughly the same latitude as Sapphira. Bizarre industrial ruins stand in an impressive landscape best reached by bicycle. They would be well suited for filming Fallout 3. Sulfur mining by the company Thera Milos Inc. began here in 1928. The sulfur was mainly sold to France, where it was used to spray vines and protect them from fungal diseases. Sulfur mining on Milos was discontinued as early as 1958 because it was no longer needed due to new methods in viticulture. However, the history of mining on Milos began around 10,000 years ago, long before the Industrial Age, with the extraction of obsidian deposits. In later areas, sulfur, kaolin, pumice, manganese and porcelain were added. Currently, the two most important mining products are bentonite and pearlite. The island is the largest production center for these industrial minerals in the European Union. The largest and dominant mining operator is the French company Imerys. This company owns the large bentonite mines in the mountainous northeast of Milos. These include the gigantic Angaria open cast mine near Polonia. Just 2 kilometers from Polonia, Imerys has also built a large loading port with a processing plant. Pearlite is mainly mined near Zigrado, not far from Cape Calamos. A port where pearlite is processed and shipped immediately is located in Canavar, very close to the airport and the now abundant salt pans. Another loading port is located at Cape Fury-Placar, where the pearlite from Zigrado is transported. Older loading facilities can be found in many places, including Varni, but many of them are no longer in operation. Since 2012, attempts have been made to combine geology, mining and tourism on Milos. The Geo-walks were developed for this purpose. They are not actually hikes, they are too long for that. with the exception of number 7 to Nija. The best way to cover them is by bicycle or e-bike. A normal car would be problematic at several points, and car rental companies explicitly exclude these routes, e.g. to Paleorema. That's why many tourists use the farting quads and feel like royalty on horseback. The 7 Geo-routes lead through the island's unique volcanic landscape and combine geology with thousands of years of mining history. Route number 1, Volcano, for example, leads from the salt marsh area near the airport to the Fury Plaka crater with its fumaroles. Other destinations include the coastal landscape of Sarakiniku and the Vani Peninsula. Also, the mining area of Ageria, the neighboring island of Milos, the Obsidian sites of Nija, and the abandoned sulfur mines in the Bay of Paleorema. There are good descriptions and maps of the geo-hikes on the internet. The starting point is always the Geological Museum of Milos, near the port of Adamas. A visit to this museum, which provides an excellent overview over the geology, volcanism and mining history of Milos, should definitely be planned before embarking on the geo-hikes. The history of the island of Milos is deeply connected to its mineral wealth, especially obsidian, which shaped the island's development over thousands of years. Milos was settled very early on, around 7000 BC, because of its obsidian. Milos played an important role in Cycladic culture due to its wealth of raw materials, and the settlement of Philakopi developed into a significant trading center. After the decline of the Minoan and Cycladic cultures, Milos was settled by the Dorians, who were also the ancestors of the Spartans. During the Peloponnesian War, Milos attempted to remain neutral, but was invaded by Athens in 416 BC. As Milos did not submit, the Athenians conquered the island, killed the men and enslaved the women and children. It was not until the late Hellenistic and Roman periods that Milos flourished again. Evidence of this can be seen in the famous Venus de Milo, which should actually be called Aphrodite de Milo. The statue was found in 1820 and is now on display in the Louvre in Paris. The remains of the impressive and beautifully situated amphitheatre near Tripiti date back to Roman times. The catacombs of Milos, located very close to the theatre, also date back to this period. It is an early Christian underground cemetery carved into the soft, tough rock. This necropolis was created between the 1st and the 5th centuries AD. In the Middle Ages, Milos initially belonged to the Byzantine Empire and later fell under Venetian rule, as did Santorini. In 1537, the island was conquered by the Turks. Milos was one of the first islands to take part in the uprising against the Ottoman Empire. In 1830, Milos became part of the modern Greek state.